Okay. Welcome to the May 8th, 2025 Southampton Town Planning Board public hearing. May we have a roll call, please, Gloria?
Chair LaFaro.
Present.
Vice Chair Finnerty.
Present.
The Secretary is present. Board Member Mudu is absent. Board Member Neely.
Present.
Board Member Fulham.
Present.
Board Member Glazer is absent. We have a quorum.
Please join us for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all.
No, sorry.
So just some safety notices that in case of an emergency, there are two doors that exit this room, go down the stairs and out the front door. Hopefully there will be no emergency.
Don't use the elevator.
Okay. So, council, do we have notice for Hangar Charlie, the first?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, we do. I'm
We
so
do.
sorry. My daughter just said
You were deep in
I
thought.
apologize. It was my daughter.
Okay, Tom, do you want to read that into the record?
Sure. Please take notice that in accordance with local law number 14 of 2022, a public hearing will be held by the Southampton Town Planning Board on Thursday, May 8th, 2025 at 6 p.m. at Town Hall, 116 Hampton Road, Southampton, and via video conferencing to consider the pre-application entitled Hangar Charlie LLC. Yet, the application proposes 10 residential lots inclusive of 2 affordable lots, 1 commercial lot and open space on property with a total project area of 32.6 acres in the CR40 zoning district at 72, 82, and 86 South Country Road, Quiog, Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-359-3-30.1, 39, and 30.1, 39, and 40.
Yes, there's a new
Budget.
microphone system now, so you don't have to, people can hear you.
Okay. And with an echo.
Oh, yeah, there's a feedback. Okay. See if you speak
Maybe I'll
from,
try from here.
come a little closer.
A little closer.
Yeah.
There we go. Good evening, board members. Wayne Bruin, O'Shea, Marcinsigan and Bruin on behalf of the Hangar Charlie LLC. The planning board and the public may recall we had a pre-application hearing on testing.
Yeah, no, that's
much better.
probably good.
Okay, we had a pre-application hearing about a year ago on a site plan application. Our property is located on the northerly side of South Country Road, about 920 feet east of Peters Lane. We're in the hamlet of Quiog. The 3 maps just to my right have been presented. This is a subdivision pre-application. The property underlying zoning is CR40. But it also has the overlay of the Quiog West Recreation Tourism Plan Development District, which was created on the town board's own motion in 2000. And essentially the purpose of that recreational tourism plan development district was recognizing properties in this area that have been utilized in the past for non-residential uses and such uses that have impacted the environment to a point where they would require some sort of environmental remediation or cleanup. And that's the primary public benefit stated in the PDD legislation, is that to encourage the cleanup of these properties here and some of the adjacent properties, that they would provide zoning incentives In particular, this particular PDD, the zoning incentive allows a regional recreational and community recreational use. And as per the previous pre-submission hearings, we proposed a recreational car club that was identified as an accepted use by the building inspector. This board provided us substantial guidance, but if you recall, one of the things that our client was in contract at the time, we've since closed on the property. Pursuant to their contract, they could not present to the planning board any indication that there was potential residential development on the property. And as such, we didn't present the subdivision aspect of this to the board at that time. We've now submitted this pre-submission or pre-application for the board, and subsequent to this, we will present a final site plan application and a preliminary subdivision application along with all the necessary seeker documents. But more importantly, as the code requires, we have undertaken an environmental audit of the property. We are working with the DEC on a remediation plan. I will identify some elements of that that we're working on, but the plan is to have that remediation plan approved by the DEC upon our next submission. If the board recalls, the property is about 32 acres. It stretches from South Country Road all the way to the Long Island Railroad. To our north is Suffolk County Airport, but more particular, just to the north, there's a parcel that was acquired by the village of West Hampton Beach. It was the site of the former fueling area related to the Suffolk County Airport. If you go back in all the aerial photographs, you'll see the fuel tanks that were located there. It's now a highway yard or Department of Public Works yard for the village of West Hampton Beach immediately to our north. To our east is a property that was still owned by the town of Southampton. It is a former landfill that's on the north side. That's being highlighted on the, and then immediately south of that is a car automotive junkyard. And to our west is the Chesterfield's facilities where they do dock work and other activities. And I see some of our neighbors are here from the Chesterfield family, the Allen family, actually. So the property is, and these are all part of parcels that were identified as part of the PDD and have the same overlay zoning. Further to the west is the Peters Lane residential development, and to our east is further residential development. Our proposal, as required by code, we did a yield map, which you see here, which shows, based on the underlying residential zoning, 28 lots that includes a park area. We identified, as the request of the staff, steep slopes, but you'll notice, and that's the shaded areas on this map. What you'll see is those features, they're not natural features, they're not natural slopes. This whole north end was mined, a sand mine operation, and that is the side slopes of the sand mine that you see as the steep slopes that are there. These other areas here were actually areas that were deposited, areas of debris and the like. And what has occurred is in the last 50 years, there's been vegetation that has taken over in a lot of these areas. But I want to point out, in particular, these deposits here, they're areas of concern raised by the DEC and will require us to actually remove those deposits and clear those areas and remove whatever is placed there. What we found is more of the nature of construction debris and heavy metals. So there isn't any hydrocarbons or gas or toluene or anything of that sort. However, if the board recalls, there were leaks or whatever deposits from that former county airport fueling, and there was a plume that goes to the south and east of us. And that affected other properties, and the need for monitoring and barriers on their foundations and the like further to the southeast. We provided a cluster plan, being CR40 with 25% open space. That's the full yield, but our desired plan is the plan on the bottom, which is 10 residential lots with the northerly parcel, and we depict for a placeholder the last rendition of the car club. We're still working on details of that. And the northerly area with the sand pit, where we, as the board had asked us to look at perhaps some revegetation of that area, but we also provided a strip of about an acre and a half along the north railroad track, which is inclusive of vegetated areas to provide potential trail linkage, open space linkage, which could connect to the former town landfill, which also connects to the open space that's further to the east along the railroad track. We also provide part of the PDD. As you recall, we originally proposed this large parcel park area, 2 park areas at the end near South Country Road, and we originally proposed an area available for pickleball. And we were going to construct pickleball and parking and the like. What we've heard since then is that pickleball is desired, and that what is more desired is a dog park, which the community is looking for. So we have plans, and we'll show you the design for that. We also, based on the Long Island Workforce Housing Act, if you have more than 5 units, you must provide 10%. We're actually, with the 10 units, instead of 1 lot, we're proposing lots 1 and 10 to be for workforce housing. The project, public water exists. We provide the necessary hydrants. And the other element of the PDD requires us to maintain a 100-foot natural buffer along South Country Road. It also requires us to maintain a 60-foot buffers along our side and rear property lines. So unlike the underlying zoning, which wouldn't require those buffers, we have provided those, and the intent would be to maintain natural vegetation or revegetate as may be necessary if parts of those have to be cleared for the remediation. So that's the proposal. We have seen some of the advisory reports come in, and would hope to get your input so we can finalize our 2 applications for the next stage.
Is there any linkage between the ownership of lots and the proposed car club? In other words, is there any affiliation?
Well, the plan is that the lots would be marketed to people who are intending to or would be like-minded, would be part of buying into the car club.
Is the road going to be dedicated, or is it going to be held privately?
It's being designed as a town road, but they haven't determined that yet.
Okay.
Most likely be dedicated.
So it's 8 building lots and 2 affordable units.
Yeah, 10 residential
altogether.
building lots, 2 of them which will be affordable.
I thought the original application was all car club buildings. I don't recall any residential. Am I
That's
not
correct.
remember?
Well, that was the site plan pre-application.
Okay.
That's why we have the subdivision part of it now, and we weren't allowed to submit any residential component at that time, and that's why I wanted to get back as a pre-app.
Right.
Have the board look at both sort of in the bigger picture, so that when we get to the preliminary and the final site plan, you can understand both components and give us all the input we need.
Right. We'll do
Okay.
a full secret
So-
on the whole, on the
Yeah,
two
so I'm-
pieces.
Exactly. So one of the elements, just to let you know, from a sewage flow standpoint, we have made sure that the requisite flow is available for the residential lots and all that's necessary as with respect to lot coverage. It also complies with potential lot coverage for everything as well. So we've been careful to make sure all those elements work.
Okay. Any other questions from us before we turn it over to anyone on Zoom or someone in the audience who'd like to make a statement?
Sign sheet.
Seth Allen, Kyle Allen, Alex Allen.
Good evening. My name is Seth Allen. I'm one of the owners of Chesterfield Associates, which is based on the property just to the west of the subject property. And we have been there since early 70s, possibly even as early as 1970. My dad bought the property and started a business there. At that time, it was owned industrial. And we built quite a good-sized business there on the 15 acres we own. We employ about 40 local people, office staff and field workers. And we just want to make sure that the developers are very aware of the fact that we've been there for a while and it's an industrial business. We're pre-existing non-conforming, and we've been in touch with them and talked with them quite a bit actually. And they understand what we do there, and the 60-foot buffer will be very well maintained according to them, so that anybody that purchases a residence there will not be affected by us.
Great.
And we're cognizant of that. Peters Lane has been there before us even, and we get along with them very well. Our property abuts Peters Lane, and we haven't had any trouble since. So.
Great.
Anyway, just want to be on the record that we're there.
Good, sounds good.
Thank you.
Mr. Allen, thanks. Anyone else wish to speak? Is there anyone on Zoom?
No one.
Okay. So this is pre-submission? What is
10-8?
this? It's pre-app, yeah. So we'll close with a 10-day written comment period. Motion by Dennis, second by Kate. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? How many? 1, 2, 3, 5. 5 in favor and 2 absent. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, we're moving on to Hillside, 29 Hillside Road. Dennis, do we have notice, council?
26.
26?
Yes, we do,
We
Madam
do.
Chair.
Great.
Okay.
Dennis?
Please take notice in accordance with local law number 14, 2022, a public hearing will be held by the Southampton Town Planning Board on Thursday, May 8th, 2025 at 6 p.m. Town Hall, 116 Hampton Road, Southampton, via video conferencing to consider the pre-application entitled 26 Hillside Road. The application proposes 3-lot subdivision on a 6.19 acre vacant parcel situated in the R60 zoning district, a New York State archaeologically sensitive area situate 26 Hillside Road, Shinnecock Hills, tax map number 300-177-2-34.13.
Good evening, Board. Steve Delamanski, Southampton Engineering for the applicant. Dennis, if you look at the agenda for tonight, you'll see that it's a 4-lot subdivision.
Okay, I'm
I
reading,
think that was a typo.
yeah, typo in the notice. Okay, 4 lots.
It is presently a main dwelling with a accessory office and some other smaller outbuildings, accessory structures. It's in the R60 zoning. We are proposing 4 conforming lots. So there's nothing past this application that needs to be investigated. So we also have, we know it's in a New York State archaeologically sensitive area. We're applied our paperwork for that. And I think it's fairly simple on board. So I'm here to answer any questions you might have.
Are you planning to remove the structures that are there already?
There's a residence and a office, and we're proposing to keep both and turn the office into another residence.
And the site plan is right here.
It's right here.
And you front an unimproved road, is that?
We front on Right Hillside, which is an unimproved road, correct?
So that'll do some road review probably, right?
Yep.
Okay. Is there someone, I have Linda Fraser and Arthur Fraser. You don't need to speak at all. Okay. Is there anyone on Zoom?
No one.
No one. Okay. So hearing that, we'll close with a 10-day written comment period.
Motion.
Motion by Kate, second by Gloria, and all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 5 in favor and 2 absent. Thank you. Thanks. Okay, moving on to number 3. Special exception North Sea Park, SYS. Do we have notice on that?
We do, Madam Chair.
We do. Gloria, do you want to read that into the record?
Please take notice that in accordance with local law number 14 of 2022, a public hearing will be held by the Southampton Town Planning Board on Thursday, May 8th, 2025 at 6 p.m. at Town Hall, 116 Hampton Road, Southampton, and via video teleconferencing to consider the site plan special exception application entitled North Sea Park, SYS. The application is for the construction of a 140-tall monopole with whip antennas, wireless communication facility on a 131.6-acre parcel owned by the town of Southampton, transfer station and recreation facility park, located in the Open Space Conservation and Park District, OSC zoning district at 1370 Majors Path, North Sea, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-78-2-74.1.
Thank you, please.
Hello, Keith Keto, the developer for this cell site. This was done with the RFP with the town of Southampton, I believe we're talking 2023, I think now.
You can move the mic up so you don't have to.
Okay, yeah, that would be a little bit better.
You don't have
They're
to
also really
scrunch.
sensitive. So.
So 2023, I want to say it was February 2023. Bids were awarded June of 2023. We've been working with the town for the North Sea Transfer Station since then, and we have everything going, zoning drawings, et cetera. So we're in front of the board, planning board.
And you have it's a 140-foot tower?
Yes.
And then you have a base with equipment that goes with it, right?
Yes, it's a 50 by 50 compound. We do have photo simulations if you want to see. We just didn't put them up yet. You want me to go?
Can you articulate exactly where it will be in terms of the current facilities at SYS?
It's right here.
Oh, you guys already have, okay.
Yeah, it's
I'm
here.
sorry. Yeah, so it's to the northwest of the property about, so this is where the park is, everything. It's towards the north, just from the main entrance for where the old office was for the transfer station. I
Okay.
believe they moved that office now to, I think, Town Hall, right? For the transfer? I think. Yeah, Ed was it. He was saying he moved it, so it's over in this direction. I don't have the exact map wrong, so.
Okay, that's fine.
It's 131 acres, so it's a.
It's a big site.
Yes.
Are there any questions about it? No. I have Stephanie McNamara here, please.
Good evening, thank you. A couple of things. First of all, I'm the chair of the CAC, but I'm speaking on behalf of myself for the most part. We just got notice of this after our last CAC meeting, and our next one isn't until next week. So the CAC has not had a chance to even discuss this, other than I sent an email out letting them know. When I first got this from Kerry, who was kind enough to forward it to me, my initial reaction, which I forwarded to some of you tonight, I didn't have everybody's email address, and I apologize, so I'll just read it. The main thing that I'm concerned about, I have no objection to a cell tower. I know we need one, but you have 131 acres there. This does not need to be right on Major's Path where everybody driving by is going to see it. And now that I'm hearing that it's 50 by 50, that's bigger than my whole property. So this is, to me, just completely outrageous. My initial reaction was, that the siting is outrageous. We have 131 acres, and you're putting it right on the edge of Major's Path in front of residential homes, which is absolutely unacceptable. And I vehemently object to this site and request that you move it to the interior of the 131 acres. There's plenty of property there. It can go back behind the ball fields. It can go back behind some of the, the cells, back behind where the, the new solar panels are. So I also forwarded an email to the town board. I believe they've been discussing it, but I'm not positive. Asking them to back us on this outrageous location for this cell tower. The town owns this land. It's 131 acres, and to suggest putting it on one of our residential streets in front of full view of the entire neighborhood is just an insult to the whole community. So while I fully understand the need for a cell tower, the town and the planning board need to do better in terms of siting. So I'd appreciate it if you'd look into this. I think I heard at one of the conservation boards, I was watching it briefly, and I thought I heard Marty Shea say something about it, but I missed that conversation, so I don't know. But, you've got all of this land, and here it is, right off of Major's Path, this huge thing, and there's no need for that.
Can you put your comments in a letter to us so
I
that
sent
we'll have
an
it?
email
Did
out,
you,
but
we
I
have
just
it?
read to you, I emailed to you
Great.
within the
Yeah.
hour. I emailed it to the three of you. I
Yeah.
apologize, I didn't have your email.
Yeah,
addresses,
no, I saw it.
Okay, thank you. But,
Okay,
it's completely inappropriate. Especially if it's gonna have all these wires and those things up on the top. It's not even a concealed thing. It's supposed to look like a tree.
It is a stealth pole. So
I don't know what that is. If you have pictures of something, like all we've seen is what's up there, and there's like a green copy of it, but what the actual pictures look like, and again, there's 131 acres. This does not need
okay,
to be
so
on Major's
let's
Path.
get Mr. Vito, is that it? Can you show it to us?
That's not okay. I'm sorry.
You want to just
Where-
pass it
where-
around, or?
We're familiar with what they look like.
Right. So did you, to address that comment, have you explored other locations on this
Yes.
acreage?
So there's a lot to go into choosing a location. So a big thing is, where are the other towers? The other towers are south. We're trying to cover north. So going south with the topography and everything, it's not an option. There's no point to go over here. I wouldn't say going more north is even the move either. We're about over 800 feet, I think, is it 796 feet from the nearest house. Elevation-wise, and you do full, you can do a simple line of sight geometry, just the angle. All the neighborhood over here will not see it, because the mature tree growth are 60, 70 feet, right? So this whole neighborhood that was, what is that, Cove Path?
Spinnaker Way.
Okay. Spinnaker Way is right here.
There's some of the, I don't know the name of everybody.
Covenant Estates.
And,
Covenant Estates.
That's the nearest residential, and that's almost 800 feet away with full town of Southampton woods, right, conserved woods. Line of sight, it's not possible to see unless you make that turn on Major's Path right there. From the property line right now, I believe it's 140 something feet from the side property line of town of Southampton property. The topography everywhere else, this is all used by the town of Southampton. So we can't go south. This is all actively used for dumping, mulch, etc. Right? And this is obviously the dump with the solar panels on it. The location was chosen with the town board and everyone involved with the RFP.
Did you do a visual test with that at all?
As in a full photo simulations and
Yeah.
everything? No,
You did not?
no.
Did
That
the
was,
town board request that?
no, they did not. That was not needed.
Most of our tower applications do submit that with their application.
Right.
Can I just say, it's not just about the houses.
Stephanie, we can't get you over there.
I recognize that the houses that are over there, that it's far enough away and there's a lot of trees in between there. But for those of us who live in the community and drive up and down this road every single day, that's what we're going to be seeing every day from now on. And I think Mrs. Begg lives right down the road. So, from her point of view, and she can speak for herself, but you're talking about putting something right on Major's Path. We have a lovely road that, is not yet full of huge mansions and everything, that still is a lovely road to drive down, and now all of a sudden we're sticking this thing like right on the edge of the road. It doesn't need to be there. There is plenty of room. Back where those trucks are parked, move it to the back. I have no objection to it being somewhere on that site, but to put it right on Major's Path where the whole community has to drive past it and look at this every day is unfair. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Is there anyone on Zoom who wishes to speak?
No one.
No, you
can't.
You have to go up to the mic, please.
And also state your name.
Hi, my name is Carol Begg. I live on 1536 Major's Path. And for me to get from my car to the dump, it's just a matter of minutes. I can see the dump from the road. So how far is this away from the dump? It just seems like, I've been there since 1979, and we had all the problems with the dumps and petitions and everything that went on and the smell, and they worked on that, and they got that corrected. Okay, so now we have a transfer station, and we have a nice SYS, but I just see, why do we have to have this tower where we are? We've had enough. And we have some beautiful homes there, and a lot of people have moved in, and there's not a lot of property left. There's a lot of people that are building nice homes, and I really don't think that they want a tower there either. I'm sure that they could put this tower someplace else.
Okay.
And so thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I think there isn't anyone further. I asked for Zoom and they said no. So you've heard the comments, and you should take that into consideration. You do have space, and an alternative location might be more appropriate. And when it comes before us, a visual simulation is what we usually ask for, particularly a 140-foot tower.
I'd like to keep 30 days, maybe.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to keep the hearing, we're going to ask for a 30-day written comment period, so you can write your letters and other people can.
Emails, everything.
Email us. So motion for 30-day written comment period by Gloria and second by Kate. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 5 in favor, 2 absent. Thank you. Thank you, thank you.
I wish more people went on Zoom, but I really don't think everybody knew about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got 30 days now
We need
but-
your
to
letters.
write some
We need
letters.
We'll read the letters, so
Or
send us
emails,
letters.
emails.
Okay,
But-
that's terrific.
Okay?
Thanks for coming
So
in.
there won't be another public hearing, it's just.
No.
No.
No,
No,
just
but
send the
we review every letter we get.
Yeah.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're on to the Shinnecock Town Fishing Dock, and you're okay, yeah. Shinnecock Town Fishing Dock, do we
Notice.
have notice?
We do, Madam Chair.
Kate, do you want to read that into the record?
Yes. Please take notice that in accordance with local law
No,
number
it's okay.
14 of 20, sorry.
Are you on here for the next one?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Again, in accordance with local law number 14 of 2022, a public hearing will be held by the Southampton Town Planning Board on Thursday, May 8th, 2025 at 6 p.m. at Town Hall, 116 Hampton Road, Southampton, and via video conferencing to consider the site plan special exception application entitled Shinnecock Town Fishing Dock. The application is for the construction of a 100-foot tall monopole wireless communication facility on an 11.8 acre parcel owned by the town of Southampton Commercial Fishing Dock and Park with frontage on Shinnecock Bay located in the Resort Waterfront Business, RWB, and Open Space Conservation and Park District, OSC Zoning District, at 333 Beach Road, Hampton Bays, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-364-1-2.
Those are hard walls.
Yeah, I've learned that. So again, I'm Keith Keto, tower developer. This was worked with this was one RFP for both sites. This is at Shinnecock Fishing Dock. This was worked with also, not just with just the town board, but also all the stakeholders on this lot, which is the commercial fishermen. So they also chose this location within their location where it would not be interfering with their operations at all. So along with the town board supervisor picking this location, it was also with the commercial fishermen that are there every day saying, hey, this is where we would want it if you're going to do it on this whole lot. So 100-foot stealth flagpole tower.
Is that a simulation
That
of
is
it?
a simulation.
Okay, you're in a flood zone here.
Hmm?
So how elevated
So
must
we
it
talked to
be?
our engineers. If you actually look, this was recently, if you know, they updated that dock. That's about 8 feet. So that's exactly what's going to be on the other side with all the equipment. So it's dark to see, but that's a raised platform with all the meter banks. This right here. This is for the commercial fishermen. So it will be the base will be 8 feet above. Not the base of the tower, I'm talking the equipment. So we're talking carrier cabinets, the fiber, et cetera.
They'll be 8 feet up.
Yes, above. And we're planning to screen it just like how they did their screening, almost 2x6, like wood planks to blend it into the environment to make it look a little beachy. You know?
The 8 foot was defined by,
I think it's 100-year floodplain with, and then you have to raise it above the sea level.
so there's backup for why it's 8 feet.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So
Yes, we
saw
would not
this-
want to if we didn't have to, so
We
it's,
saw this application in a work session or earlier. Were you?
yes, there's what day was that?
And I commented that of all places to put a cell tower in the middle of a parking lot, regardless of the fishing component, was not appropriate, particularly in this area. Why could it not be moved? Again, not that neighbors will see it, but moved further toward the dune area. And we had conversation about it. And so, again, it's a question to you as to why there?
This was worked with, the town board, the fishermen.
This was the prior
yeah.
town board, right? Not this town board.
What?
Well, I think some are still involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think majority, I think it's just Jay's gone, right? Even from a developer, a tower, you don't want a tower onto the beach. If this tower's here for 40 years, would you rather have a tower in the middle of a beach if the town decides to make that a bay beach? You're putting a tower in, we're in an existing area that's already used by commercial fishermen. So it's a rough area. It's almost industrial if you think about it. Would you rather take almost an industrial tower and move it to what could be a bay beach where people could access the bay? That's how I look at it long term. It's better to be intertwined in existing use.
But can you bring up, Pranav, please, the parking lot and the area right next to it? Right. So that direction is west?
West.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was my ask, whether or not you could not move it west as opposed to being smack in the middle of the parking lot.
What about the western edge of the parking lot?
Yes, somewhere other than the center where you also have fall zone issues.
Well, that,
So to the west edge, so the parking lot, how it is they use it outside for storage, correct? So the east side, the south side. The west side, they bring in to unload with all the large trucks. So that's almost going to be a loading dock there. So where they chose us is right next to that building in the grassy field that is just right there, unused in the middle of pretty much a commercial operation. I do not like the idea of putting it to the west. In 20, 30 years, if the town wants to make that a bay beach, make it a park, you're going to have a tower now there. But that commercial dock is going to stay a commercial dock. I don't like the idea of taking unused, even really beach, park and making it for a cell tower. I would prefer to be where we are.
Can
I just think it makes the most sense long-term.
Another location a little west of here, the Ponquag Pavilion, the cupola. Was that explored? Can you put them inside building? I mean, I understand
they
they
can.
put them in church towers
Yes.
now and things like that.
So that was discussed, I think, over 2 years ago, and these sites with the towers were what was chosen over that. It's topography to what they want to cover. So you could do rooftops, but then it's going to be it's going to be a it's not going to be just putting it in. You're going to build up, and then you're going to need more sites. So this is almost a one fixed solution, which you don't want to do the cupola. Then we're going to have to still build a tower because the cupola doesn't cover enough, right?
How do you determine the height? We've seen, several applications and they're different heights.
Yes.
Like this is, I think you said 100 feet, which seems like the lowest one that I'm aware of. Just wondering how that's determined.
With RF engineers with the carriers, it's all line of sight. So it has to do with topography. So North Sea is 140 feet because those are mature trees, 70, 80 feet tall. People don't believe that. You tell them, hey, these trees are that big. They're like, no, they're like 40 feet. I'm like, no, we bring out our rangefinders and show them. They're like, oh my God. They're huge trees, right? So that's why North Sea has to be 140 feet. And that will be able to get all the carriers. For Shinnecock, it's on the beach, and the topography is, the RF will go along the water and then hit all the Hampton Bays areas, what we want to cover. It's really just all about topography and line of sight. So
Was the Coast Guard site explored at all? Just because there is already a large tower there and it's a little more protected. This is a very fragile environment. It's flooded out completely
Yes.
at some points,
It's,
as you know, I'm sure.
that's a very good question because everyone always brings that up. We cannot touch federal properties or federal towers. So if you look at any federal tower, Coast Guard tower, there's no wireless carriers on that by law. They cannot have any interference. God forbid, there's AT&T's there and they bring a worker in, the accident cuts the wrong cable. That's life and death situation for the Coast Guard if they're in a rescue situation. So all Coast Guard towers will only be strictly for Coast Guard.
Well, I was talking about coupling it next to it or something.
Oh,
Is there a
on
cooperative use
federal,
agreement of the
no,
land or?
no,
Okay.
yeah.
Could I ask an obvious question? Maybe should have been asked at the last application. Who was the applicant here?
The town.
Yeah, it was Keith, the town.
Who was here from the town, representing the town?
I was a developer representing.
I
It
mean,
was
you're
the work
making
session, correct?
That where these facilities have to be cited, should we have someone here from the town?
Whichever
Who owns the
department,
property?
municipal works or
Right,
whoever
exactly.
manages the
Someone.
project.
I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot, but you're telling us, well, I've talked to the town board and they tell us to put it here. Like, we believe you, but where is the town?
Should we hold the hearing open?
I crack up because it's just like, I'm just out here. I'm the developer and doing it. Everything's like with the town, the land, I have to sign it, but then it has to have town sign it. So it's just interesting.
Well,
it's
the other question is what abilities does this board have to direct the town? Are they exempt from zoning? Do we have full site plan review?
You have site plan review.
We
We
have
do?
site
Yeah,
plan.
you have
review.
site plan review. There's
So
no one's
So we can
claiming
tell
to
them to
be.
take the tower and
And
not
move
here because the town is the property owner.
Legitimate site plan
Right.
issues, you can raise them with the town board and perhaps
Well-
they would even change their minds. I don't
Right.
know. I mean, this is,
Well, we can
prior
maybe,
board did this, the current board knows of it. I don't know their feelings on it. If
Right.
you want to adjourn
Just
this
talking
to have
you,
somebody
just
come
Not to
in.
have a property owner, is there an owner's endorsement? I mean.
Yes, they wouldn't be this far if it wasn't
Right.
owners endorsed. And we typically will send the developer, whoever won the RFP, to come present. That's not
Yes.
unusual.
Do you have I'm sorry, Jack, I
Yeah,
just
go
wanted to
ahead,
finish.
yeah.
Do you have someone an official from the town that you're coordinating with? Is it the engineer?
yes, law department, another
Which
who
department?
is it?
The
law
lease.
department. We have a full. It's with the law department, the consultant, Len Marchese from the RFP.
Casey no longer works here.
He does consulting on cell tower projects.
Typically, also when we've looked at these, we've been able to see an overview map of the locations that were looked at, just so we have that perspective of, you did a study and then, chose
Okay.
this site.
So like alternative locations.
Right, what was considered. We considered
Yeah,
these
it's
5
alternative.
sites, and this is how we came to the conclusion for this site.
Yeah, so we're
The locations were specifically
Okay.
town boards and everything.
Great.
Bid against other.
Right, but, I mean,
Yes, keep it up.
we didn't,
Adjournment.
I don't remember seeing that 2 years ago. It's important for us to consider it within the context of the history of the project, so,
What do we have on the?
So, I mean, what we're trying to look at in terms of future, maybe you're not, I don't know, in terms of siting, this is in a floodplain area, but one of the worst floodplain areas, okay? There's sea rise coupled with that, and we're putting a cell tower in the middle of it. So in my view, it doesn't make very much sense, and I think it needs to be revisited. So we're going to adjourn this hearing and see if we can't get a meeting with a representative from the town board to see what the thinking was, because it's thinking from a prior administration, and try to get some resolution here. I don't mean to hang you up, but it's also, once this is in, it's in, and we're not doing our job unless we look at it from every angle. So,
This is no reflection on you or the
Oh, no.
award or
No,
anything like that. I
100%.
think they just need further information and clarification from
Yeah.
representatives from the town.
Now, how long is that adjourned for?
well,
long-
at least 30 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that
Are there
would-
time elements with the award?
No, it's just the town did want these standing. This was the only site everyone came out and said, please build. Residents.
Jackie, do you mind doing
So-
the 2 weeks if we can? Because it might be with emergency services, they might want to get this done
Exactly. So
faster than-
volunteer Hampton Bays Fire Department's going on. This is a lot more than carriers, is public safety. So,
Maybe do the
we
2
need
week
that
adjournment and then
information
we'll get somebody in
presented
here
in
on
a
the 2 weeks.
methodical
You'll still get the
fashion
written
of
comment
2 years
period
ago, we
after
did the
that.
study, this, and like the proof of what, comments were
I mean, we'll do
presented.
2 weeks, but are we going to be able to accomplish what we want to do? in
We
2
have to get somebody, we have to reach out to the town
Town.
board and
Yeah.
get, perhaps you can
Whatever
send an
department
email
is
to Maria
managing
or
it.
something and see if we can get.
All right, we'll adjourn it for 2 weeks,
22nd.
depending on what we can.
okay.
Is the 20, what's on the
22nd 's on
22nd?
I think it is the 22nd.
No, we have the Bud Hampton.
That's a pretty heavy.
That's right, one of them is.
I think it's heavy in session.
Yeah, I don't think we could do it then. And the one after?
We have 3 on, 2 candidates.
That's in June. What's the date?
That's
in
in
June?
June. The last one in June
No,
is the floating.
Yeah,
Full time.
that one.
Otherwise, you could close it and just leave it open for the 30-day written comment period, and in that time, speak to the board.
I don't feel.
It's up to you guys.
I'd rather adjourn it,
Okay.
you know?
why can't we bring it on the 20, what's on the 22nd?
The 22nd, there's only 2.
There's no one here
Okay,
speaking,
so we'll do the
Yeah,
22nd.
I mean, I think it's important that we
Okay.
actually get a better process that.
Mhm. Whose application is this, Prena?
This is Seth, I think.
No,
It would be Claire.
It's Claire.
Claire.
Yeah, 'cause it's,
Okay,
Yeah,
so
she does
please
all-
relay to
Oh,
her
both of
what
them are
has
clear.
transpired.
Both
I
of
think
them.
I've talked to her about it, In
Yeah.
fact, when we saw you first, there was discussion about
So
it.
they're going to put it on for 2
Okay,
weeks.
so we're going to adjourn it until the January 22nd?
June.
May
May
22nd.
22nd.
7 o'clock.
We-
No, we haven't eaten dinner, we haven't.
We've been sitting here
May
since 2
22nd.
o'clock
Yes, I
without a
heard.
break.
Okay, so I need a motion for that? Motion by,
Tom.
June.
is there anyone on Zoom?
No one.
Motion by Dennis, second by Tom, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 5 in favor, 2 absent. We're adjourned on this until the 22nd,
Okay.
okay?
Thank you
And
very
we'll
much.
try to get some information before.
And if you speak to
Do
anybody
you
from the
guys
town,
want me to
can
give you
tell them.
exactly who to talk to within the town
Yeah.
and everything?
Good.
Okay, yeah,
You can tell them too, and they'll,
yeah.
Okay, so we're on our last application, which is Baywater, Seawater, and Wellwater LLC. Do we have,
I don't.
not
I
have
had
notice.
a mailing copy. I didn't get anything else, and there's nobody here. So I don't,
okay, so we can't open it. Okay, so there's no sufficient notice.
is there anybody on Zoom? Like,
Is there anyone on Zoom, Kevin?
No one.
Thank you.
I don't know what happened.
Okay, so we can't open it if we don't have notice. So motion to adjourn by Dennis, second by Gloria, and all in favor. Opposed, abstentions. 5 in favor, 2 absent. We are adjourned. Thank you.